Okay, I have Uma Musume Cinderella Grey. Um,
Yes.
this is this is being done by Cygames Pictures. Once again, this apparently is a manga. Is a manga original as well. I didn't know that they were
Mhm.
doing like
They
mangas
like
for
creating
it. Uma
these
Musume at
these
this
sorts
point,
of
but
like
okay.
mobile games, like creating these like different spin-off manga. It's like the same. It was the same for Cinderella Girls as well, and so on. So it happens.
But yeah, um, what is there to really say? So yeah, this is a spin-off. This is following Lee Oguri Cap and Bell No Light to the second to like the lesser extent. She's like kind of like the secondary main. This has Fujimasa March on Mal listed as a main, but she's kind of like the main antagonist at this point. I don't really know if how much we're really gonna see of March. I would assume we're actually gonna get like a breakdown of her
Probably just
full
gonna be a general arrival for the series.
aspirations. Yeah, and then we'll probably get like one episode that's like what is she running for, like so
Yeah,
to speak, like type thing. I feel like, which
standard
is why, like,
sports series stuff.
I feel like Belno, with the first few episodes, with their like probably will wind up being a secondary like main at
Yeah,
some
she's
point
probably
because I
gonna get
feel like she's
sidetracked
gonna
a
get
bit
like a
more.
mini arc. Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like Belno though is gonna end up getting like a slight mini arc at some point of her um what would you call it, debut race, and probably maybe like a little bit of an episode or two like self doubt arc, being secondary to Oguri or something like that. Um, but either way, this is pretty standard. This takes place before, um, I think like everything in the Pretty Derby, like timeline, if I'm not mistaken. Because like in Pretty Derby, like Oguri is already established and whatnot, so
yeah. I think this is
this
like
would be
technically a prequel.
much prior, or not
Yeah,
much prior, but this would be prior to that. Um, However, that doesn't really matter all that much because it's not like many of the other Pretty Derby characters even make an appearance, as far as I understand. I think the only ones that have shown up and probably will show up, I imagine, is going to be people like just a quick shot of like Sabali, Rudolph, and such, just because of what an important role like her and the other like quote unquote like emperors play
yeah.
in being like Triple Crown winners. Um, but yeah, so this opens up with the main trainer, Kitaharu Joe, being in basically like the sticks of Kasumatsu and kind of like being down on himself because he wants to find a star and he's not sure if anyone could find will be that like, you know, generational runner. Um, but eventually, he stumbles upon Oguri Cap, who is obviously, like I said, she's our main for this season. Her backstory is essentially that she could not even like walk as a child properly, and her mom had to like basically do like therapy massages for like years, effectively,
Hey, I
to
know
allow
that.
her to even
I
walk.
know that how that works. It's called Forrest Gump.
Yeah. Yeah, and so eventually she could, and now like that's kind of her reason for running. Is just, she describes it as because she can. And I do hope that this series gets into that because I think that that is a cool, um, just a cool like depth or lack of depth to it that I think would be nice. Fujimasa March, like as the rival, is like, proposes to her like, oh, why do you rock if you have no real aspiration? Like you could never hope to like beat me or to like get to these national races and whatnot. Um, but I do hope that they recenter it around Oguri's like reasoning for running is just that she can, and that she just wants to, essentially achieve more goals rather than reestablishing, why she's doing what she's doing. And yeah, overall, much like the other Uma Musumes, is a very standard, like sports series. And yeah, audio visuals are really good.
Yeah, Cygames Pictures has been flexing quite a bit recently.
Yeah, so this is a
They're-
13 this is like a 13 episode series, and I believe all the other Pretty Derbies, like the Pretty Derby series, are, I believe, 20, like the 23, 24 episodes, if I'm not mistaken, each season.
Mhm.
And so, oh no, season 1 was that. I don't know why I thought maybe they're not. Either though, the audio visuals, I feel like they've been stepped up like quite a bit,
The
even
main
from like
Uma Musume stuff has been like
season
spaced
3.
apart a lot, so it is a little bit confusing.
Yeah, pretty
Season 1
Derby.
and season 1 was PA Works. I forget what season 2 was, and then
Didn't they take it in house after like the first Uma Musume?
I
Because
want to say
the first
season
Uma
2
Musume
was
was like the one
in-house.
that was super delayed, right?
Okay,
If I
season
remember
2 is
correctly.
2. Season 2 was no, season 2 is Studio Kai.
oh, okay. I forget which. I forget
And
when
then
they
I
took
think
it in-house. Was
is
it Road to the
season
Top?
3 in-house? It might be
I don't
Road to
remember.
the Top, actually, because even Pretty Derby
Mhm.
season 3 like
This
is
like
not.
this mainline
Yeah,
Uma
season
Musume was
Pretty Derby
so
season 3
fucked.
was also that. Yeah, it was also Studio Kai. Which took a lot. Like they obviously still do have some decent cuts in like those, and some good shots in those. However, Road to the Top and now
Yeah, Road to
Cinderella
the Top
Grey has
just
had
fucking. Road to the Top literally just mogs all of them.
insane.
It's actually
Yeah,
absurd.
it is wild how much of a step up all of this has been.
I think it's also
And
I think it's
Cinderella Grey
also
as
again
well.
it's part of it. Part of it was that the main line. I don't know whether it was partly due to the transition of like them kind of giving up and being like, "Fuck it, we'll do it in house," or whether Uma Musume itself was the catalyst for Cygames Pictures being like, "You know what? Screw all these contractors. We're taking this in house."
Well, yeah. I mean,
But
don't forget that Uma Musume season 1 came out before the game,
Yep.
so like
yes,
the money was not rolling in just yet. So
yeah, and
you
there
know,
was like these weird ass delays with the
yeah.
game versus the anime, and it was like super messed up for the people back then who were watching Uma Musume and like were in the news should know there was this like super weird delay between like the anime came out and it was like one season and it was like okay, but it was like okay, sure. But then like the game never came out
Well,
for
there was
like
there
X
was the
like a decade and it's
PV.
like
There PV in 2016. Then
yeah.
2018, the game was still not out, and then Pretty Derby
Yeah.
season
Yes.
1 came out, and that was pretty solid.
So stupid.
But
Yeah.
then I don't remember when the game even came out. But
I
then
think it
they
was like a
did like,
year. I think it was like maybe a year or a little bit under a year after season 1.
holy
It was
moly,
a
nope.
while. It was a
I think
while.
you're wrong, because I'm seeing. So it went to PV, then starting at Uma Musume Pretty Derby manga came out, then the first season came out, then Uma Musume Pretty Derby season 2 came out, because I'm seeing Uma Musume Pretty Derby first anniversary special came out in 2022.
That's crazy.
So does that mean the game came out in 2021?
I think so. Yeah.
Which is like
this
insane.
timeline
So
is
season 2 came
yeah,
out.
it
Even
was
season
silly.
2 is 3 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody
And that
honestly
came out.
everybody was dunking on it at the time because it was like we were there, right? Because like
Yeah, I mean, it was
we were just
it
like
was a
Yeah, I mean,
meme. It
I
was a
was
meme for a long
dunking on
time,
it because it was
right?
like the game is not coming out. Like I like the anime, and we were just like, yeah, the game's just not coming out, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Uma Musume, whatever happened to that one chick from the very original PV, the super fast one? Whatever happened to her?
We're all pretty fast. It's
The-
kind of
the-
Yeah, I mean that
the
is
one- the
not
one- Here, this one.
not helping.
Let me.
What is her name?
Who-
I think
If
I
you
think a
name
lot of
her,
them got
tell-
redesigned.
The one
though,
with
from
the
initial
cool
PV.
ribbon. This one. Whatever happened to her?
I mean, I think she's in the
Whoa,
game.
that's
I
loud.
think she's just like a low.
Yeah. What's her
just like a
name?
low
I've never
rarity.
figured out what her name was.
I have no idea. I don't even really know what half of their names are, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, you can see she's right there.
The one with the blue ribbon that you like linked
Yeah.
right here? Isn't
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, she's right there.
I mean, that could be a redesign, like a non-redesigned Ayabe, right? Like,
I don't know. A lot of them did get
'cause-
redesigned from the initial case.
yeah, Admir Vega, like that could be Vega, and just redesigned. I don't know.
Link me.
Vega
I
has
don't know who
like
you're talking about.
a one blue like ear cover, so like, and I believe sometimes she races with her hair down. I don't know. Either way,
But anyways, yeah.
yeah, like a lot of that will probably also be units, because obviously there's dozens and dozens of background characters. But yeah, so anyhow, the audio visuals obviously, like I said, are very, very good. The what should I say? The designs are really nice. Obviously, some really fun supporting characters too, like the sort of like bully trio with Norn Ace, Rudy Lamono, Minnie the Lady. Very fun. And yeah, so far that's been cool. I would assume this is gonna, like I said, this is gonna follow a very standard sports series stuff. So that'll be very fun to see, because that is honestly like probably one of the more fun parts about Uma Musume in general, is that if you could think of it as like the cheesiest sports movie thing possible, it will happen. That will be one of the plot lines in the series. And it's told very fun, very, very cheesy and like dramatic. And the audio, like the OST, obviously in composition, always very much helps that. Helps in this case, because it is very very like sports movie orchestration vibes in a lot of these scenes. So yeah, not to really get into like, yeah, I'm not really going to spoil any of the events, because there's some really fun bits that have happened so far from episodes 1 through 3 as well, that have come out. And yeah, I mean, no real complaints from me. I think this is probably going to be one of the strongest ones so far, right? If not the strongest one. And the audio visuals are definitely going to help that. So I'm glad that Cygames
And it's probably
took it in.
Yeah, it's probably only going to get stronger from here on, considering the trajectory that Cygames Pictures has been. Obviously, barring silly mess fuck ups with the director or like with the direction or whatever stuff like that, like one offs. But in general, it should get even better from here. Is my guess.
Yeah, I mean, this is like kind of a solid formula for them, I feel like, at this point, because like I said, like the Pretty
Yeah.
Derby seasons have been so consistent. And now that they've taken this in house, and now this seems to be, it's going to follow the same spiel as like Road to the Top, and now this, just being a really, really, really good drama and sports series.
Oh, apparently it's
Yeah.
Deep Impact. That's her.
What?
I've been
Oh,
searching.
that horror? I
That's
don't
Deep
know.
Impact?
Yeah, I mean, she has never made an appearance, as far as I know. In
Deep
any of
Impact's
it
owner
so
was
far.
caught in a scandal back in 2006 for having the horse taking banned stimulant substances.
Okay.
Okay. What?
Yeah, when's that arc? But yeah, so I guess the only other thing to mention is the OP and ED. The OP is pretty standard. It's Kodu by Alexandros. It's good, but it's a pretty standard, like, showing all the characters and their routines, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
The ED is what I'm assuming is supposed to be called called Infinite by Oguri Cap, which is very fun. It's very cool. It has some nice audio visuals, like a
Mm.
sketchy type start to it. And yeah, obviously, if you're a fan of Uma Musume, you should give this a watch. I think if you're a fan of sports series in general, you should probably give Uma Musume a shot, because I mean, Pretty Derby season 1 was pretty solid with its plot line. Pretty Derby season 2 is like just like sports drama plot wise is like the peak so far to me. Even Road to the Top, like as solid as it is, like as a movie and like a 4 episode like OVA, um,
Mm.
does not clear the plot line of Pretty Derby season 2. It is
How much
so
do you
corny.
know? How much do you need to know about Musume to watch
To
Cinderella
watch
Grey?
Cinderella Gray, 0. You really don't need to know
Okay,
anything.
that's good.
Yeah, because like I
Yes.
said, since this begins, I mean, even before any of like Pretty Derby, and doesn't feature like any of the characters, like that's about it. The only thing you would
Okay.
literally, I think, get would be seeing Oguri in like I guess season 3 of Pretty Derby, and now getting to see
Uh-huh.
where she started. But she's not even like a main in season 3 anyway. She's still like a side character of Pretty Derby, and then like maybe getting a bit more of other characters, I guess, interacting with Symboli Rudolph in the
Mhm.
other seasons, but that's not it. But even like Rudolph, like I don't even think is gonna really make another reappearance in this season. So you
Right,
kind of
right,
don't
right.
need anything. So it's a good starting point. Like it's a perfectly fine starting
Okay.
point to go through this. Yeah, I would recommend it to you. Any sports series fans.
Apparently,
And you
Deep
don't have to
Impact.
play the game. You don't have to care about the game at all.
Apparently, Deep Impact is known as the best racehorse in Japanese history.
Well,
Good.
So, so what would
So
you
those
rate?
stimulants helped.
Yeah. What would you rate Uma Musume Cinderella Grey then?
I would give this probably at least so far, like an 8 to an 8.5. Probably like an
Okay,
8.5, something like that. Maybe a
that's pretty
9.
similar to a mall rating. It's getting a pretty high
Yeah, it's
rating,
between
which
like an
is
8 and a 9 to me, because it's like depending on where it goes, right? Like if it really, again,
uh,
which I mean would be inconsistent at this point, if it
right.
somehow drops the ball of being like really corny, cheesy, like sports
Mhm.
series. If it winds up doing that, I'd give it. I'll probably wind up saying like a solid 9 for me, right? Because so far,
Right.
even the audio visuals have been really good. So I'm sure once we get deeper, we're gonna have even more like really good cuts during like the race deeper in the series. So I'm really
Right.
excited to
Right.
see where
Right.
that
Right.
goes. And yeah, like I said, I think we're gonna have a really good classic, line of the like with Belna of the supporting character who's like, to get fully at what I expect it's going to be is that she, provided Oguri with better shoes that she needed and better cleats because she's like really her family runs, a sports what would you call that, like gear franchise, like shop
Mhm.
franchise. So she's like really knowledgeable about like their gear and basically helped Oguri win one of her races after she blew out her shoes in the prior one and almost beat
Oh. Okay.
March, but blew out her shoes in doing so.
Mhm.
Um, so that I think is going to lead to a thing of her, and they're kind of hinting at it of being, she hasn't made her debut race yet, even though Oguri has debuted and now won. Um, she's obviously behind in like stamina and strength to someone like Oguri. But I think that's going to be very interesting to see like if they do that plot line of her not wanting to be like, her being like, oh, it was nice that it felt like originally that, oh, we won that race together because like I helped you with your gear and stuff like that. But I
Right.
want to win my own races. Like I want to do that. Like sort of an imposter syndrome like type plot line. I think we're
Yeah.
in for
Oh,
something
I
like
want to
that,
earn it. Yeah,
and
exactly.
that'll be just excellent. Like Chef's Kiss sports series bullshit that I want to see
Yeah.
from this.
It's like
So
the whole like the standard like kind yeah the termination kind of thing coming kicking through
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
like
So,
the supporting, yeah, the standard, like the supporting, uh, supporting character that wants to, they want the limelight, for a little bit,
yeah, yeah,
however fleeting,
yeah.
classic. You even had that shit in Talladega Nights. It was even there with Shake and Bake. Like that
Yeah.
was that whole shtick. Like that is how, classic of a trope that is. So
Rate
I look forward to
the
that.
rotoscope dance.
That was god tier. That's the other thing too. They are not using. They are blending CG very well. They are using some CG, and then for like the dance, the rotoscope was nice. It was very tight.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
And I guess like as a minor spoiler, like Oguri, that's another highlight too. Just before I finish here, the Oguri as a character is a very fun, like, what would you call it? Almost
Incredibly
almost
autistic.
yeah, almost autistic character. That kind of really just knows running and wants done, and like is very
Very aloof.
yeah, very aloof, but also like not is it confident, or just like, yeah, like just does not understand like the
He's very
cues of
blunt.
like,
He's very blunt.
yeah, very blunt, and just if it is about
Rust.
racing, or if it's just something she needs to like do, she will do it, right? Like her
Uh-huh.
first winning live, quote unquote, the bit is that she does not have, like, they did not do any dancing practice whatsoever, and Kitahara Joe, the coach, was like, "Oh shit! Like we didn't do any dance practice. Like, what are you gonna do?" And she
Mhm.
just does this really like almost like aerobics like dance, like elementary schooler level like shit to a like Kasamatsu. What would you
Yeah,
call
she
it? Like
does like a
not really like a
shrine.
folk
She does like a
song.
shrine dance,
Yeah, it's
basically,
almost like, yeah, it's like
that
something
like
you
a
see like a
Miko would do.
festival, yeah,
Yeah.
or something like that, like a festival,
Yeah.
like fire dance or like line dance, like a thing. Like it's
Yeah.
super super funny. Um, and yeah, it's really fun, really great. So yeah, just great stuff all around, honestly.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I know again, this was an interesting thing because it was them trying to again. I mean, like they did Road to the Top, and that turned out great. But it's like they're trying to expand upon this a little bit more, and they're almost trying to make this sort of their main bread and butter now. I think with Uma Musume, and obviously, as you mentioned, they did a great job doing this, and also it doesn't really require people to have been seeped in Uma Musume trivia, Horse Girl trivia before coming
Yeah,
in, which is an
yeah. I
additional
mean,
bonus.
I got a
Right?
I got a
it'll be
question.
interesting to see if Cygames does a Pretty Derby season, like a season 4 for Pretty Derby or something.
Uh huh.
Which even then are still like not super duper connected. Like obviously knowing the older characters helps from prior seasons, but you
Hmm.
don't necessarily need to. This obviously even less so, but yeah, like you said, like I don't know. This kind of has to be Cygames bread and butter right now because, like, I mean, unless they want to actually do more with Grand Blue and get off their asses, like this is kind of the
Wall
only
them
thing
out.
right now that they're doing it with, right? Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
fucking sent that, they put out Relink. They were like, wow, Relink selling like insanely well. What if we just like
That's
didn't do
nice.
anything with that
Yeah.
and just did the fucking fighting game that no one plays? Which I'll
Yeah.
still stand by, no one fucking plays, because no one fucking plays it, and it only sold, if anything, a tenth of what Relink sold. Um,
Right. Right. Right.
but yeah, I believe they're also wrapping up the mobile game anyway too, or like, kind of in the
For what?
final
Musume
years of
2?
it. No, for
No, Grand Blue.
for Grand Blue. Uma Musume is like kind of still in its early days. I don't even know. Is
Yeah.
it localized even at that point? Even have a localization? I
Haha,
don't
that
think
got
so, right?
announced. That got announced like 2 years ago and still hasn't come out.
Yeah, so that'll even be another little bit of a boost to it, I'm sure, at some point. But
I have a
I mean, that'll
question.
be interesting to see too, because that'll be coming out at the time that stuff like this is airing, and this is also streaming
if
on.
they're smart.
This is also streaming on Amazon, like on Prime Video, for those two, and no other Uma Musume is on Prime Video, I believe. I think Road to the Top might be purchasable through it as like as a movie.
Probably.
Which is interesting because it's like, you have these two now as the Cygames Pictures ones being available on that platform, which
Yeah,
I
well,
think is
Cygames, I'm
pretty
pretty
interesting.
sure is never going to work with Crunchyroll ever again. So,
Yeah, I mean, thank God. So
yeah.
that'll
I think
be nice.
Cygames is also kind of after their I don't know. Uh, I mean sh- I think it's made clear both by their actions and from what Cyber Agent. Obviously, Cyber Agent wants to, much like Kataka, much like Sony, much like Warner Bros. They all want to start consolidating in this current economic environment, and because of the natures of these companies, um, they are not in the mood to work with outside companies, whether it's contractors, whether it's localizers, whatever. They're just taking everything in house. So, but yeah.
So
I mean, I think it's
overall,
very much like Crunchyroll is too much of a middleman at this point, where like
Yeah.
something like a Prime Video is not really much of a middleman. It's just going to be a platform, which I think is what a lot of the places are going to look for at this. But yeah,
Mm.
what were you going to Toes?
who's
You had a
okay? So
question earlier too.
who's the strongest horse girl in Uma Musume currently?
I have no idea. I mean,
I have no idea.
technically, like the quote unquote, like the emperors would be characters like Simbali Rudolph, right? Like they would be, at least in the anime so far, the peak, because like they're Triple Crown winners, and like I don't think anyone in the animes has become a Triple Crown winner, so it would technically still be them. As far
Yeah.
as like
Anyways,
who winds up being the strongest, it's whoever the main character of the season.
Yeah, whoever the main character of
Spoiler
the current
alert.
season is.
yeah,
Can
exactly.
they
Because
beat
they had
Special Week?
You
I
probably
don't think Special Week has raced since her season, Pretty Derby
Wow,
season
she
1.
sucks.
Well, that's
They're
what
just on the
happened. I mean,
back
that's what
burner right
happens
now.
Did they
in
put her
all
out
of
to
the.
pasture or whatever it's called now?
No, that is
Yeah, they turn her to
literally
glue.
every season of Uma Musume is who was the prior, who was the prior person. Okay, they are now cheering for the new people on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And or the new people, and that is what keeps happening in every Pretty Derby season, which is fun. But yeah, it's cool.
Anyways,
They get.
thank you very much, Doc. Yeah.
I was just gonna
Oh,
say,
anything
like
last?
I said, all of these are getting tied up in neat little bows. So it's like once the season is over,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is a
They're like
that is a
self-contained.
full
Yeah,
a full contained
yeah.
like sports series.
It's almost like you know how, for instance, harem anime or harem, not even anime, but light novels from the 2010s ish. They had this thing where each novel, right, the volume was based on a specific girl, right, in the harem. I mean, they do that now too, but it's like they did way more then. And obviously, one of the most infamous being something like Data Life, right? It's something like that almost, where it's like each season is just like focused on each of these different girls. And since there are already a crap ton of horse girls in the Uma Musume franchise, they can kind of develop off this formula as long as they don't accidentally just clone the same story they did in one of the previous seasons. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
they have a good formula that they can work off of as long as they can make the proper variations and tweaks into the
yeah,
story. So
and listen, they can always do crazy shit, right? Like we saw what you could do
yeah.
even IMAS with like dead siblings and
Yeah,
Ghosts
yeah,
of
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
dead
Or
siblings.
start grouping up the girls. Yeah,
Uma
yeah.
Musume, fucking road to the top, pulls an unborn twin, fucking plot line, which is crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
So there's a lot. There's a lot they can do.
yeah. All right. So thank you very much, Dark. And again, this was Uma Musume, Cinderella Gray, the spin-off of like the main kind of Uma Musume uh
Dark
kind of mainline anime. Uh Tels,
Dark
you
Food
want to
would
say
have
something?
fight Cinderella Grand or Cinderella Girls.
All right,
What was Cinderella Grand?
What? Don't you remember the
all right.
Cinderella Girls? It has the best Idol Master character in it.
Oh, Cinderella Gray or Cinderella Girls? Cinderella Gray,
Yeah,
dude.
whatever.
Cinderella
Yeah.
Girls as a season was.
But it's got
Yeah,
the
the
best character.
2 seasons were not good, yeah. But anyways, I do want to move on. But thank you, Dark, for helping to cover Uma Musume Cinderella Great. I'm glad that it came out to be a good series for not just Uma Musume fans, but also for people to watch to get into these like series. And I think these sorts of spin-off series that kind of both act as something that Uma Musume fans can be proud of, but also regular like non horse girl watchers can be like, oh, this is interesting, and then get into Uma Musume. I think these sorts of like series that can balance that while still being a good overall series is a really good kind of like make. So I'm glad that you
What
reviewed this. Yeah,
what does Uma Musume watchers have to be proud of nowadays? Other than
To be proud. What do you mean?
I mean, their anime is better than the game, right? Is that how we're going with this?
I mean, I haven't played the game, so I wouldn't know. But
I mean, I think mobile games or like gotcha game people are more or less they're just like, uh, how do I say this? When they get into
I
the
haven't.
franchise or when they get into the games, they're just kind of with the games. They're just kind of pulling, and it's like the lore part is almost quote unquote separate from the
i-
game, if that makes
Is Uma
sense,
Musume
right?
the
So
most popular mobile game? Or the most
popular site. What are you talking about?
is
Cygames
is
wise?
or is it the most successful anime compared to the
No.
game?
Oh, and anime compared to the
Oh,
Yeah,
for
game?
like a mobile game anime just in general or side
yeah.
games?
I mean, Princess Connect is up there. That one's really good.
Yeah, Precone is a pretty
Yeah,
close one.
Precano is pretty.
Um, I would
Yeah,
I want to
probably
say
maybe.
as a franchise, probably as a
Yeah,
franchise,
yeah,
yeah, because it's like it's got more seasons,
yeah.
it's got more
Yeah.
eyes.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
anime,
I heard Grand Blue
like
didn't do
Uma
so
Musume is.
well.
No, the Grand Blue anime is
Mm,
ass. The Grand Blue anime.
yeah,
Grand Blue's
the
not
Grand
good.
Blue anime was not good.
Girls
Oh my god.
Frontline, not
No,
good.
Girls Frontline is strong game wise.
No, I
But
mean
yeah,
anime wise.
That's Cygames.
yeah, it wasn't.
Just talking in general for.
What? Yeah, I would say the
No, I
game is
think Girls
definitely more
Frontline was
popular.
pretty bad, and
Yeah,
the game is popular, but I think the anime was not
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
hot either.
What else? Arc
I
Knights.
think the big hitters.
Near
I think the
about
big
Arc
hitters
Knights.
right now is gonna be like Cinderella Girl or it is
Uma
something like an
Musume.
Uma Musume and Arc Knights as like the two big ones right
When's the
now, I think
Nikkei
mobile
anime?
game.
Just saying.
Yeah. All right. I do want to move on. Thank you to both of you. But this was Umusume Cinderella Gray,
Oh yeah,
and
what's your
I
rating,
get
Dark?
I already said
he already gave it. It was
it's
8 to
it's an
eight
eight
point
and a
five.
half
8?
now.
All
Yeah, it's
right.
an 8 to an 8.5 right now. As long as it like depending on how it peaks, it could go to a 9 for me. I got to see the later races.
Yes. I do want to wrap up, so if you can let me finish. So yeah, thank you, Dark, for helping to review Umusume Cinderella Gray. And if you guys do want to check out a series, um, that about Musume that doesn't really require you getting super into uh like the Uma Musume trivia or at all rather, while still being a quite interesting sports series, then please do check this out.